Okay, we made our character walk. I also went ahead and made a few adjustments to the head, made the movements a little slower than what it was. Now it looks more natural. Okay, let's go to Autumn Park background and first prepare this for our character to walk in. So we're going to first animate the stuff that we need to animate. So go in the bushes and we're going to take the anchor point tool and just bring them below everything. So the bush moves here. Do the same thing for all of the layers or any layer that you plan on moving. Bring it here. Then we have the tree. Make sure the tree is, the anchor point is below. We have a twin flower that we're going to add this here. We have more flowers. You can duplicate the flowers if you want it to be more than what you see in this project. I'm happy with the number. The hills are not going to move. Just anything that we can move using the wind. We will fix their anchor points for some movements. Okay, and the rest is just the background. Okay, so for the bushes, select all, hit R on your keyboard, and we're gonna add like a +7. Turn on the keyframe. Next thing, we're gonna go for -7, so they go to the opposite side. 1 second, we're going to go back to +7. So there's a really slight movement and we're indicating that it's windy out. You can adjust the keyframes. Make it slower or faster, and then we need to loop these. Anything that we animate for cycles need to be looped. Hit Alt on that to loop out. Click away. You have a final thing as well. All right, so these are looping now. Let's go ahead and close the bush layers. Hit M to close them. For the trees, we can use the puppet pin tool, or you could just not move them because they are quite big and I don't think the wind would move them that much. So skip the trees, get the plants, any little object on the floor. Hit R on those, and we're also going to make, since they're less thicker than the bushes, they're thinner, we want to add more movement, so -9 for all of them. Turn on the keyframe, 1 second in, select them all. One second in, we're going to add +9, and then another second in, -9. So they're just moving like that. They're moving left and right. We're also going to loop these, and then we're going to offset them so they don't all move at the same time, because that's kind of unnatural. By offsetting them, we create a really random movement, which is perfect for our landscape. Move out. We have one more flower. There we are. So if it's red, it means that you looped them. Select all of those layers. Hit M to close their thing. And now to offset them, since they're already looping, you just need to select them and move them in like that. So some are normal, like I can keep that normal. Maybe I can move this way, but not the other way because they won't appear. Just maybe like this one, we can make it like so. Move it like that, triple flower, maybe a little bit. So now they're gonna move at opposite rates. They're not gonna be moving at the same time with the same angle, and that just creates a better look. And we're not gonna touch the trees. You could use a puppet pin tool, but I won't be doing that. Now, to create that motion, let's first make a floor for our character to walk on. You can't just walk on nothing. deselect all the layers and use your rectangle tool to just make a floor. For the character, let's make a dark gray one first. Click away and we're going to make a second one. Like that. Let's make this like gray. So now we have a floor for our character to walk on. And we're going to keep these like this. You can name it if you want. Let's name this floor white or gray. Back floor. Add any elements that you want, and then we can go ahead and make our scene composition, which is where everything comes together. 1920 by 1080. You can use a square if you want. Also assign the duration. Now let's bring in the autumn background that we just animated. Hit S to just make it smaller. So the thing about this background is that it's not a looping background, because you can see we cut the tree. And for this, we can simply just, let's hit Control K and readjust our thing. I'm going to go for a square, 1080 by 1080. There's our square. And I'm going to scale this quite a bit, like that. Hit P and just move it to the beginning of this. Turn on the stopwatch. Go to maybe 2 seconds. We can always come back for the speed. Just go to the end of your drawing. So it's just really slowly moving to the side. It is a little too fast, so let's go for 5 seconds. For better help, we can get our character. Go to your project panel, get your character by FreePic that you already animated. But before that, let's go ahead and remove the solid that we made here. Delete that. So now we have a transparent look. Go back to autumn. And sorry, the scene. Let's close these so we don't confuse them. Character by FreePic, we have our character. Hit S to scale it at the right size. Bring her at an appropriate size. And we're also going to hit P on our character and make her move across. She can't just sit there. We'll make her move. Use this so you don't move the Y value, just simply move her that way. You can make her go out of the frame if you want. So let's play that back. The speed, I think the background is a little fast. So we can extend this to maybe 7 seconds. Have a look at the speed now. And that is better. I think 8 seconds. Because the background needs to move slower than the character, because she's having the most movement. And okay, that's better. I do want her to move out of frame, so like she just left the park. So delete the previous one, and now we have her just appearing. And now our final element is the autumn leaves. Let's go ahead and get our autumn leaves. I'm gonna go on, double click on that composition. Oops, the composition. We're going to select everything and just offset them out of frame. We can then decide which ones we want. Take them out of frame completely. You can delete the ones that don't make sense. Deleted that one. Okay, so this is our scene no matter what. We can always scale it in the final scene. Let's go to the effects and presets and look for blur. Alright, so we want a really basic blur, Gaussian blur. Add that to all of the layers. We can add that to the composition actually, so we don't have to do this one by one. Select all of these layers. Or one by one. Let's hit P, then we can deselect. So we're gonna decide how we want these to come in. We're gonna first turn on their stopwatches, then we're gonna click away. So layer 11, move into maybe 2 seconds. I'm gonna make this to just come in like that. I'm going to delete the ones that look like this. It won't look that cool with the blurring. And I think we have enough leaves. So I'm going to delete layer 29 and layer 31. So now we just have a bunch of leaves. Just doing that. Now let's go ahead and scale out a few of them. Come to where we can see all of these layers. Maybe select some random ones throughout. Hit S on them and make them small. Okay. Then we can select a bunch of other random ones. And hit S, maybe make these bigger. So they're like in front. And the rest we can leave them that way. Now let's offset them. Or just let's select all of the keyframes, hit U. I'm going to look at the ones that we made large. So this is small. This one needs to be moving quite slow because it's all the way in the back. This one this is big, so we want this to move rather quickly because it's in the front. This one is a medium size, so we can just bring them in here. Not too fast, not too slow. This one's slow, so just maybe make it appear from here. Extend the time. This one's also medium, so maybe bring it here. Do that. This is another medium one. Just make them really random. You don't want to make them come in at the same time. That won't look cool. Have another large one. This is a small one. It can be long. Then we have another small one. Make that long. So now these are going to appear at different times. And that's how it is. Because it's windy, we also need to make them rotate. So select all the layers, hit R, go in the beginning, turn on the stopwatch, come to where everything is out, and maybe add 1 to this number. So it does a 360 turn as they're appearing, but at a really slow rate. There we have it. So now that looks more natural. Let's come to scene and get our autumn leaves on top of character. Hit S and expand it quite a lot. Then want to add Gaussian blur to this effect. Add a good amount of blurriness. Let them come in. Have a look. Let's add a lot, like 15, 19. Alright, so now the leaves are just gonna appear. And let this load for you guys. Now while this loads, we need to duplicate this layer and have some leaves come in from behind our character. So I'm going to hit N here. Let's have a look. You can adjust the blurriness as much as you want, but now I want to separate the autumn leaves that come in at thing. Let's make a new comp. Call this slow leaves, the ones in the back, the smaller ones. In slow leaves, we're going to look for the layers that are, well, the smaller ones. Come into where they all are. This one's small. This one is big. So this one, let's bring it here. Control C, Control V here. So we have the small one here, and we can delete it in the big one. This is a big one. This is a medium one. I guess the medium, we can put it in the back as well. We just want the big ones to be in front of her. Delete that here. But another small one, Control C or Command C, Control V, Command V. Delete it here. We only want the large ones to be here. Control C, Control V. Delete that here. This one's big, big, small. Control C, Control V. Backspace to delete. That's another small one. Control V. Select it first. Control V, delete that, and we should be done. So now we only have the big ones to worry about, and that's good. Let's go back to scene. I call this big leaves. So big leaves is in front, but slow leaves, we want to bring them below character. Hit S, scale it out, add Gaussian blur to that as well, but we want to blur this more than the front leaves. So for front leaves, we did 19. Let's go for maybe 35. So now it's going to be, it's a little too blurry. Let's go for 10 because I want to see the leaves. Let's turn off big leaves for a second. Okay, slow leaves, let's hit U. And maybe work with the second keyframe so we can get some behind the character. Just select that and work with the lines, the second lines, not the first lines. Ooh, let's put it here. Okay. Let's go back to scene. You can see we're getting those leaves behind her. That's what we want. Let's add to the blurriness 40. Okay, that's better. Turn on the front leaves. Now together, these are gonna make a nice little autumn look. Let's go to autumn leaves, or the big leaves, basically. And we wanna offset these because they appear at the same time. And this is a rotation. Let's go for P for position. They are a little fast. Let's mess them up a little. Make some of them fast, some of them slow. Go back to scene and we should have a nice little autumn landscape with our character walking. Okay, let's have a look at the playback. So the leaves are appearing, some from behind, some in the middle. I think we need to scale out the big leaves. They look kind of funny. Hit S on big leaves and just make them big. So like these are, okay, I don't like this leaf. Let's go back to autumn leaves and find the culprits, delete them. And that looks better. Okay, so we have the leaves going on. You can always fix the speed, but essentially that is our animation. We made our character walk. We made a nice little autumn background, which you can even enhance by adding additional elements, maybe rain, snow, make a sunset behind it. But for now, this is our final product. Here it is. She's taking a walk in the park and she just leaves the scene, and it's a nice chilly afternoon. You can see the leaves, the background, and all of that. And also we can add some blur to the background as well. Looks a little off. Let's add like 20. Okay, not 20, 10. Let's add 10 to the background because she's the main focus. It would be great if we could bring in the tree. Okay, so let's go in the background, remove the Gaussian blur. We can do that in the background. So project, autumn background. So we want to add Gaussian blur to the stuff in the back. So that counts background item, which is the furthest thing, 30. Okay. Add Gaussian blur to the third tree, which is here, but less than the background item. So maybe 25, 20. 20, we have the second tree, make this less blurry, so 15. And then we have the hill, which is this guy, I think. Which one's the second hill? Okay. Let's add another 15 to this. The flowers can just be how they are. Or we could add a 10 5. Copy this, and we're going to paste this on all the other layers that are forward. Control C for copy, Control V for paste, or Command V. First tree, we can make it sharp. Bush 1 is not even in frame. We can move it up so we can see it. Bush 2, also not in frame. Fix that. Bush 3, move it up here. We can put that on bush 3. Alright, so hill 1, which is first hill, we can add a little bit more blurriness. Let's go for 10. Alright, so that looks better. Let's go to scene. And now we have a dimension going on, which looks better compared to what we had. Okay, so now we are done with our project. It was really fun and rather simple. This is one of the basic movements that you have to master. We're going to look at other movements that are a bit more complicated than walking. We'll look at some things like bike ride and other sorts of movement where we have a lot of rotation, keyframes, and all that. So this is it for this lesson. I hope to see you guys in the next one.